I was really not gonna make a video this week. I've been struggling with anxiety and depression for the last week or so, couple weeks. Every time I sit down to talk about this, I feel really uncomfortable because this is very personal for me. I am documenting this moment right now because even though I spent the day having panic attacks, I just agreed to go on a live local news show tomorrow. She says that's her eye twitches. I'm excited. I get to go and talk about snail mail on the news. Look at us being relevant. And I'm excited about it. And I'm nervous. Not because I don't feel comfortable going and talking about these things. I am so excited, and I could enthuse about snail mail in my sleep because I love it so much, but because I see this as a great opportunity that has arrived at what feels like a terrible moment in the middle of struggling with my anxiety. But I think the best thing for me to do right now is to go do it. So we're gonna go and we're gonna do it. We're gonna talk about snail mail on the news. Is that exciting?
Yes.
I will bring you with me tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, it's the day of going on the news, and it's been a really crazy morning of running around and doing errands and trying to get my head in the right place. And I'm doing okay. Just got a couple of emails that I've been dreading out and done, and I am ready to tackle the day. And the next thing on my list is to sit down, drink a cup of water, do some deep breathing, try to get my anxiety in check. This is a little more behind the scenes than I usually do, but we're going with it today because things have been crazier lately than they usually are, and this is what I've got to give. So stick with me. I will take you with me and show you anxious snail going on the news. We're gonna do it. So if you've ever watched a makeup video, you know that the get ready with me is a theme that is often happening over in Beautyland. And today I do not have time to sit and chat, but I would like to. It would help me feel better, calmer, if I brought you along with me. But it's time to get ready to go be on TV. So I'm gonna go ahead and get ready and chat with you while I do it. Hopefully that's interesting. I also have some mail to open. I am so nervous, and I know that it's going to be absolutely fine. And I'm excited for the opportunity, but I'm still really nervous. So we're just gonna go with it. I'm also trying not to cry today. I have had a long couple of days, and I had a really rough and wonderful, as therapy can be, therapy session last night. So I was doing some crying, and I'm feeling some general puffiness. And I was doing really good at not crying until my sister lent me a special makeup item that is very helpful. And inside she left me. So you may be thinking, Sarah, where have you been? We haven't seen a video from you in a few weeks. And you would be correct. That's part of why I'm sitting down to chat right now, because things have been nuts. So first of all, we had the Thanksgiving holiday. So I was doing a bunch of stuff. As you can probably imagine, the time around Thanksgiving with the American shopping holidays that have been instituted in the last few years is a really busy time. So between Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, all of that jazz, it's a really busy time. I was also out of town for a little bit of that, spending the holiday with my parents, my sister. The last few weeks, I've been dealing with some things in the small business world that are not fun. I've dealt with this before, but this is sort of, I don't know. I don't even know how to talk about this. So I'm dealing with a bunch of copyright infringement on one of my designs that are closest to my heart, the Empathy, Kindness, Respect design. If you haven't heard about that or seen that, I've talked about it before. I wear the shirt all the time, but I put that design together for the Women's March in 2017. and then partnered with Cotton Bureau to put it on a shirt. This is weird to do on camera. How do beauty gurus do this? Now I'm a ghost. Future me is gonna have so much fun editing this. So I've been selling the Empathy, Kindness, Respect shirts with Cotton Bureau and as a greeting card on our website since January of 2017. And I'm really like proud and happy that I've been able to donate all the proceeds from the shirt sales to refugee aid organizations working in Seattle. And with this month's donations, I actually got past $5,000 donated in the last 2 years, which is something I'm so proud of. And it meant a lot to me to be able to give that money and to support a cause that I felt strongly about and to put a message into the world that I felt did a lot of good. And unfortunately, right after I made that donation, I went and decided to do a Google search for Empathy, Kindness, Respect just out of curiosity. And I found dozens and dozens of direct copies of my shirt design being sold on every platform you can imagine. It's not a surprise to me that these things happen. I know that they happen. I know they happen all the time. But for some reason with this design specifically, it really stung. Because this is something I put a lot of time and energy into promoting the shirts and talking about them and sharing them. And it's something that I do not make money on. Like, it does not support my family. It doesn't help my business. It's just something that I use to try to do some good in the world. And to see it replicated and replicated and replicated for someone else's profit was just so frustrating. It's not fun. I'm really a ghost. You can't tell that I never sleep. Makeup is magic. I wish that in my business I could not take things personally. That would be like way healthier for me. However, I'm a human. So I've been really struggling trying to figure out what to do. I've dealt with this before. I've worked with an attorney. I have a cease and desist letter. I have handled these things before and I've been really pleased with the way I've handled them in the past. It's not that I really didn't know what to do. It's just I knew going into this process how much time and energy it takes and how draining it can be to handle these kinds of things, because it doesn't always work out and people can get very angry. Not every single circumstance is the same. There are a lot of people online that have literally taken exactly the image they find online and reproduced it and printed it on a shirt, which is the most obvious and blatant. But just because it's blatant doesn't mean that they're not going to continue to say, I don't care. And that's just so frustrating. Trying to talk to someone online over email or through letters, like, you know, you'd think that snail mail would fix everything. But unfortunately, this is not a fun kind of snail mail. And I don't do this I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for anything. I'm just asking for people to come up with their own words and their own designs to do good in the world that way. Because just taking someone else's words and designs for your own purposes is not the heart of empathy, kindness, respect at all. Basically, I have been nervous to proceed just because I know that this is not a spend one morning sending cease and desists or reporting things online and it's over. Like, it's weeks and weeks and weeks of process, and sometimes without literally going to court and suing someone, they won't ever listen or take down their designs. I know that to be possible. Thankfully, in this situation, a lot of companies and people have responded quickly and have responded in the way that I would want. So that's really great. But this whole process and this circumstance has just kind of taken a toll on my mental health. It's just a tough thing to deal with and handle and know how to handle correctly. It's one of those things that you don't learn in school when you become a graphic designer or a printer. No one teaches you about this. And so I've, you know, in the 10 years I've been in business, I've figured it out as I go and done my best to learn. And it's just it's a hard thing and it can feel really isolating. So I've been struggling with that, and it's taken up a lot of all my extra free time that I would usually use to make videos or do things that I enjoy, which is not awesome. So that's some of what has been going on. I think more than anything, I find it discouraging that there are so many people in the world that think things are okay until they receive a cease and desist. I would hope that everyone out there knows that taking an image from a website and then selling it as your own is not okay. Like, I would hope that everyone just knows that. I think for the most part people do, but there's a lot of people who are willing to give it a try and hope that no one notices and try to make whatever money they can off of it until they get caught. And that, for me, that is not the world I want to live in, and that is not, it's just discouraging. And it's discouraging right now because I'm trying to write new product designs and new cards, and I'm working on finishing up my book. And when I look at the world and see a bunch of people who just want to take everything I create and profit off of it for themselves and not support another small business person, like, that for me makes me not want to participate. Makes me not want to put more things and more of myself out into the world. It makes me want to hide. And I think I've been doing that lately. So I didn't really want to talk about any of this, but I think it's important because it's affected this platform for me, because it's scary to put yourself out there in whatever capacity that's happening. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing it. I just needed a bit of a break, I think. However, I tend to hide and try to take a break and not feel better until I just continue to push through it and use my voice and put myself out there. So here I am. Need another eyebrow. This is such a weird experience. I'm gonna call that eyebrows. I have them too. And it's not, I wouldn't say that that's like the cause of why I've been struggling lately. I consistently deal with anxiety and depression, and you know that, we've talked about that. It's not new when it comes up. It's not like, where is this coming from? It's like, hey, I recognize you, but it can be triggered by circumstances going on. And this is sort of part of why I've been struggling lately. And unfortunately, the circumstances trigger the anxiety and depression, which triggers all these other thoughts and questions and things, and can make me just really want to give up. When you are the ideas person for your business, and also when, I don't know, I juggle a lot between being a business owner and leading my team and writing a book and raising a family and all the things that I do. And I am so blessed to get to do what I do, to do my dream job, to raise my family, to live in a city I love, all these things. Like, I am so fortunate. But sometimes when I've been operating in a high level of multitasking and not a lot of rest, sometimes one extra thing will hit my plate and it's like the straw that broke the camel's back. And that's what it's been feeling lately. I felt like I was doing okay, and then all of a sudden, I don't feel like I'm doing so okay. I had a great session with my therapist last night. Again, like, I am so fortunate and blessed that I get to go to therapy, that I have the opportunity to see my therapist and to have her in my corner, helping me out with all the things I got going on, helping me think through things and talk through things, being a sounding board, and, you know, helping me with more in-depth things when they come up. I am really, really grateful. And if you have at all have the option to see a therapist, whether it's once or whether it's all the time, I really suggest it, because it has changed my life. And on a week where I feel like completely like giving up, it has given me a little bit more rope, if that makes sense. You know, you get to the end of your rope, just like giving me a few more feet at the end to keep hanging in there. Full transparency, yesterday I had a panic attack and didn't feel like I could breathe. Couldn't get my heart rate regulated, couldn't stop crying, felt awful, felt completely miserable, felt like I was gonna die. And in the middle of that, was asked to be on the local news. As you can imagine, that was weird timing for me. And I even in the middle of feeling that awful, could see that this was a great opportunity to talk about my business and even more to talk about snail mail. Like, I get to do that here with you, and now I get to do it with people who may not have tuned in on purpose, and to tell them about why I love snail mail, and hopefully to inspire them to write a few more letters in the coming year and to reach out to people that they love and to make those connections. Like, that's a big deal. And I couldn't say no to that. So I was literally like, well, I feel like I'm dying today, but hopefully tomorrow I'll feel better because I'm going on the news. Which is a very weird dynamic of anxiety that no one tells you about. Why am I talking about it? Why am I talking about it? I'm talking about it because I'm always tempted when I see somebody I look up to or a fellow business owner getting these opportunities to do these big things, and I think, gosh, they really have their life together. Like, they have it together. They're on the news. Obviously, they're not dealing with any of this stuff I'm dealing with. And if anyone would be tempted to believe that about me, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you about the fact that I almost said no to this because I was in the middle of having a panic attack and had to like calm myself enough to talk on the phone with somebody from the local news because they wanted to give me a great opportunity, which I almost turned down because I was freaking out. We are all struggling. We are all struggling. All of our lives are a mess in different ways, and all of our lives are beautiful in different ways. And I just never want to be a person that anybody looks at and goes, she's not struggling, obviously, because she's putting on makeup on YouTube and going on the news. I'm talking to you right now to distract myself from the fact that I'm going on the news. I have some color in my face again. I want to be transparent with you. I always want you to see what's really going on. And obviously you can't see my whole life, but I started this whole thing as a place to share my joy and my enthusiasm, but also to like be real and to share more of my life than I feel like I can on social media or through my business marketing. So that is this. I am going to be continuing my writing letters in weird places series, and I will be writing letters in a tree house. I am taking Mr. Snail Mail Superstar to Treehouse Point. If you've watched the show Treehouse Masters, that is Pete Nelson's bed and breakfast. He has 6 tree houses you can stay in, and we are spending it's a random like Tuesday night, but we're spending a night next week in a tree house, just a little tiny getaway. I'm gonna be writing letters and sharing part of that journey with you, and I'm really excited about that. So know that I am not done just because the holidays get crazy, and this time of year for me is crazy. I have lots planned for the new year, and I'm really grateful for you coming along with me. Apparently the reason I'm on the news is because someone saw one or more of these videos, which I never would have guessed when I started out, and I'm certainly still in the beginning stages of this journey, but I'm really, really grateful to you for watching and for sharing and for being excited about snail mail with me. That is a big deal. I wanted to go back to the intellectual property copyright infringement conversation for just a minute. One of the things I think most people don't know is that it's really difficult to copyright designs that are typographic, so just words, in a typeface, in a combination, in a style and a design. I have handled this before with other things, and because there are not images on my work, the Copyright Office has issues letting me have copyright registration for my designs. I think that that's crazy. And for this empathy, kindness, respect design, not only is it not a digital typeface, I set the type, the antique wood type by hand, spaced it out the way that I wanted it, had the lines the way that I wanted it, and the type bears the damage that's been done to that wood type over the years. Only I own that type that's been damaged in that way, that shows that distressed texture. So when I go online and I see someone else's design that has exactly the same damage in exactly the same places, I know they didn't use a typeface. I know they took my design and literally just ripped it from the internet and put it on something else to sell it. Obviously that's not okay. Even if and some of the sellers I'm dealing with did change the typeface, it's still very easy to go online and do a Google search for empathy, kindness, respect, and all the things that come up are mine until somebody went and started selling it as their own. And now those things come up too. But if any of those people had done a Google search and if they had come up with it totally without having ever seen my work, which it happens, and I've dealt with that before, and other people have too. It happens where you come up with an idea at the same time, there's something in the air, you grab it, and you don't know that someone else is already selling that. It happens. But if you do a Google search, it's all over the internet. I'm all over the internet talking about it. The listing is on Cotton Bureau and on my website and on YouTube and on my blog. There's all of these things that come up showing that that is already a shirt that's being sold currently. So as a designer, as an artist, as a creative person, for me, I always do a Google search. Is this already being sold by someone else? If it is, even if they don't own the copyright registration for it, I know they put it out first, which means it's theirs. It's not mine. Why would I want to sell something that someone else is already selling? So that's the conversation that I keep having with people, is having a copyright registration number, A, does not protect you if someone else wants to sell it unless you go with a lawyer and sue them. But that's also not the only way to own a copyright. When as an artist or a designer or a writer, you create a work, you hold the copyright for that when it is published. So it's a whole conversation. It's a whole frustrating thing. And honestly, it kind of sucks to handle. And most people want to argue about it and want to say like, well, you don't own 3 words. You're right, I don't own 3 words, but I did put those 3 words together on a shirt before you did on the internet. And I would like for those 3 words to keep raising money for refugee aid versus raising money for your pocket. That is my preference. Not everyone agrees. And that's okay. And I'm not on some kind of mission to go and like take down the internet and to like attack everyone who's trying to sell anything that looks remotely like mine. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just trying to protect my work as a designer, my voice, and honestly, that matters to me. It matters. And I think it should matter to everyone working in a creative field, everyone selling products, that they're selling something that is uniquely theirs and not a regurgitation of someone else's. That might just be me. Let me know if you agree. I'm trying very hard to just do minimal, neutral makeup because sometimes my brain goes, it's a special occasion, you should do something crazy. And I end up with like giant blue and purple and green and madness all over my face, which is fun, but probably not the look I'm going for today. Brad and I, Mr. Snail Superstar, and I call that doing the most. Sometimes I'm like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna sit down and I'm just gonna do quick makeup. And then he'll walk into the room and I'll be like, I accidentally did the most. It happens. So I take this little makeup bag with me everywhere I go. And recently I've been just putting things in it, and it's got 7 lipsticks in it, which is really, really unnecessary. I carry about that many pens too, but for some reason I'm less bothered by the fact that I carry that many pens. You knew I was gonna wear this on TV, right? Was there any doubt? I have some mail. This one I'm not gonna read on camera, but I loved that it was from a local restaurant, and they provide these postcards with stamps for sale so people can sit and write letters. So go check out Good Egg. What? It says, Dear Sarah, hoping and wishing you an amazing Christmas and holiday season. Thanks for making us all snail mail superstars. Love always, Betsy. And you are all snail mail superstars. I'm covered in glitter. It says, hi, my name is Jim. I live in Northern California. I found out about you on the Postcards podcast. Hello. I now follow you on Instagram and Facebook. I get tremendous joy from sending and receiving postcards, also Christmas cards this time of year. I love Christmas cards. I hope you have a fabulous holiday season. I will send you snail mail from time to time, Jim. Thanks for writing, Jim. Another sparkly one from Speak of the Devil, Frank of the Postcardist podcast. It's Merry Christmas, Sarah. I hope you and your family have great joy and that this card that traveled to the North Pole brings some extra Santa magic. Oh, that is wonderful. It has the North Pole cancellation. Thank you, Frank. Right, and I have one here from our friends at Alair. They also are shopkeepers. They have a little store in West Seattle. Oh, which looks just like this. That is really cute. In 2019, we wish for you to have an abundance of kindness, surprise yourself, kiss someone that adores you, and stop and admire your life. Thank you for everything this past year. We love your faces and smart mouths. XOXO, Alair. That's really cool. If you are ever in the West Seattle neighborhood of Seattle, that is where they are at. They purchase cards from us. We also like to go over there and support them. Earlier this year, they sent me a bouquet of flowers and a couple bottles of wine on a day I really needed some support. So they are delightful. I got here too early. I guess it's better to be here early than to be nervous about being late. So we're gonna call this one a win. One for the win column. Those are the things that are gonna put me on the TV. What do you know? I just finished and that was so nerve-wracking but so wonderful. I'm really excited that I got to talk about snail mail and all the things that I love and tell about my shop and just do the Snail Mail Superstar thing on the news. That's insane. So I hope you got to see it. If not, I will find a place to link it so that you can watch it. And this has been a weird week.
Snail Superstar.